What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Six Gaming Podcast. Filling in for your host, as always, it's Ron Klee. Mr. Shosan out once again this week. This week it's a medication, I guess. Yo.
You got to be careful with that medication stuff.
Music. Anyway, that's Shosan. And with me, we have a pair of repeat guests, starting with Mr. Russells.
Take on me.
Okay, stop there because I don't like where this is going.
That's how capable my webcam is today. I feel like I'm out of a music video.
Oh, jeez. And we have the artist formerly known as Bubbles.
Yeah. It's everyone's favorite guy that they've only seen once before.
Yes, in fact, I've seen you so much, I did not know how to properly pronounce your name. How is it pronounced?
It is Bobles, as in like a
Bowl.
bow and arrow.
Like tying a
And you
bow
just-
on your head.
You
Okay.
just
Oh, you're a hunter.
A stupid sound on the end of it, like bulls.
Bull, bull, bull.
Bulbils.
Yes. So,
I think Russell's only.
except Bubbles.
It's just with a bow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes. All right. So we're going to start the show off the way that, well, it's not the way that we always do because Show's not here, but it is his favorite part of the show. He's missed it for 3 consecutive weeks, and I'm sure
Shame on him.
it's tearing him up on the inside because
And it's becoming his more favorite as the shows go on.
exactly. And this is the first half of the show. This, of course, is the news. I don't have the good news, everyone thing. Yes. Excellent. We're going to start off with what people have been calling the new spore. Have either of you had a chance to play No Man's Sky? I know your potato doesn't run it, Morphod.
If I pedal really, really fast, I might be able to not afford it.
And
I have not either, but I don't really have too much of an interest in it from what I've seen so far.
yes. So No Man's Sky, of course, released, I believe, 3 weeks ago now onto PC, and maybe it was 2 weeks. Time is a thing that I'm not quite sure on. But yes, so it's been released, and I think one of the major publications gave it like a 6 out of 10, and that was generous. The reviews have been coming in, and they've been pretty poor. I think we mentioned last week, with the Benotion, Death of the Puddle, is the way a lot of people are putting it. Well, Steam, of course.
I think that describes my ex to a T.
Yeah, I think you said that last week too. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we have Steam, of course. They're the main distributor for PC, and they have a refund policy. And basically, the way that the refund policy works is you play a game for less than 2 hours, you decide you don't like it, you can return it. They'll delete it from your hard drive, and you'll get a refund. But in an interesting turn of events, Steam is waiving that 2-hour requirement for No Man's Sky. So anyone who has purchased it may return it.
That's interesting.
That is
very
interesting.
You can only return this pair of underwear.
Well, if that
After
pair of
you've
underwear
worn
has
it
more
for
than
at
2
least
hours.
2 hours in the summer.
Yes. Yes.
But that's interesting. I believe that's a great thing to do specifically for this game because the way that it was advertised, you would need so many hours to actually explore the game and see what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
you're bound to surpass that 2-hour limit before you just figure out, oh my god, this is just Minecraft in space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that. But to somebody like me who didn't listen to all the hype and bought the game and actually enjoyed it minus the price tag, because I think is not a AAA title worthy price for sure.
Uh-huh.
as someone who's enjoyed it to a certain extent, I haven't been playing it nearly as much as I have the first week. It's still a game. It still has somewhat of a story. It still has a core loop of gameplay. Granted, that core loop isn't great, but I mean, I still have a couple goals. I still have a couple achievements I want to reach before I put the game down. And I mean, it's still something that you could play over and over again. It's certainly not the worst game I've ever played. That, by the way, that distinction belongs to. It's so bad I don't even remember the name of it. That goes to Puzzle Agent as the worst game I've ever played. But yeah, it's very interesting that they're doing this. It's almost like Steam is covering their backside, so to speak, because there have been so many things that they've talked about when it comes to what they want to put in the game, what they're a lot of people have been using the word promise. I don't know if it's promise so much as bad marketing, but there's been a lot of things that they've marketed with this game that just simply are not true. And maybe Steam is seeing this and saying, well, we better let people refund this game because if we
there
don't...
might be a huge backlash over that.
Exactly. So a lot of speculation over why they're waiving for this, or even if it's intentional. Some people have said it might be a bug. Who knows? But Steam is allowing people to back out on No Man's Sky. Very interesting.
Yes. And the question is it the right move?
I think it is. I honestly do.
For Steam, yes.
For Steam, it's like, goodness, you have to suffer through 2 hours of having your computer idle on this game that has very demonstrably does not have the deliverables. Go to hell.
Yes, pretty much.
Just on principle. Now, on the other hand, if I really want my money back, I'll let it just idle overnight and I get my 2 hours. Okay, but just the very principle of it makes me want to punch somebody's punchable face.
Nice.
Am I loud enough while I'm leaning back here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Some might say you're too loud.
Go to hell.
I might say that.
So yeah, by the way, it was Polygon that gave it the 6.0 review. And one of the quotes is, "I couldn't believe how soon I felt like I had seen everything it had to offer," which semi-accurate, I'd say. But anyway, moving on. I would be remiss not to cover this game here because Lorna, one of our other podcasters, very rarely joins us because this is like 4 in the morning for her where she is. But she has said that she really enjoys playing this game called Prison Architect.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, Prison Architect has received its final update after 6 years.
Oh.
So.
Well, why is that unfortunate?
Well, because a lot of people enjoy the game. A lot of people said this is a pretty good game. So it's version 2.0. They've had 40 updates, all of them month after month, including betas, previews of new features, stuff like that. But this is the final set of new content. They're going to be adding developer tools and cheats that will speed up construction of the prisons, bug fixes, debug options, a lot of other smaller additions. So they're basically just putting everything they have out there, and they're done. Yes.
Yes, and given the development path and they've done a fantastic job of how you're supposed to do an early access title release. You have regular shows of the gameplay itself every month from every update from the developers. They show you that they're actually playing their own game to be able to test these mechanics appropriately. They're not putting it in bizarre sandboxes or theoretically saying, yeah, this should work here. No, their game testers are them.
Exactly.
And they have... when they released it was already a pretty complete game as it was, and they added a whole number of features that I just was surprised, never even thought that this would be capable in an agent simulator. But overall, even though I'm terrible at the game, and I can never seem to get too far into it, Um, I think this is. I think for them to stop with adding features, I think they did a very good job of laying out their path. I forget the proper term there, but basically you set your objectives and you have different check-ins, different timings that you want to.
Roadmaps, timelines.
Roadmaps. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. They stayed true to the roadmap in the sense that it's going to change as you delve into the problem of creating this game more. But committing to there is an end keeps you from turning this title into another Dwarf Fortress. And now they have, if I recall correctly, this is running on the same engine as Uplink and Darwinia. So, pretty impressive arrangement there to get that little. They probably really modded the goodness out of it. But I think this is an example of an early access game done right. And the other example I can think of that is behaving similarly is Factorio, which is also a similar, not an agent simulator, you're only one person, but the same style of development. Just kind of, when they released it in an alpha, it played like a beta. And the game is still fully playable and moddable out the box. So, it's sad to see the story close, but now a whole bunch of new stories can begin with the mods.
Yeah, very nice.
And they can move on to creating something new.
Yeah, I think the game that's mentioned here is called Scanner Sombre, a cave game that's currently being prototyped.
Well, let me tell you, they have acquired an awful lot of goodwill from the gaming community from their work on Prison Architect. I can't think of a better marketing than the way that they handled building that game. So,
very nice.
I wish them the best of luck. They've earned the excitement and the press over whatever title they're putting out next. Now, can they keep it?
Hopefully they can. We'll see how that goes on. And then the next game that I also think is something that another podcaster, this one, Captain Damien, would be interested in. Of course, I don't think either of you two are aware. Captain Damien actually filmed a documentary for an Oxenfree ARG. Oxenfree being a game by Night School. And they've come out with a new game recently, and this is a mobile game. It's on iOS and Android called Mr. Robot. I think its full name is Exfiltration.ipa or something like that. It's a kind of a weird name, but basically, a lot of the story that I'm reading here is saying that this game is interesting in the fact that it leverages people's anxiety over notifications in an effort to hook them on the game. So you'll see some notifications, and there's a lot of things going on in the game. It's some people call it more of an experience than the game, and there's things like you can see things like group chats and stuff like that. I have no idea what this game is about. I'm actually interested to the point I might download this. But the main character apparently suffers from crippling depression and anxiety, and he does things that aren't normal, to say the least. Not going to give too much away here, but it makes... the quote here says that I needed to know what was being said, as much as he tried to ignore the contacts and the text messages. And it's kind of an interesting way to do notifications in a game. I don't know if you guys play a whole lot of mobile games, but a lot of the notifications from mobile games are absolutely useless.
Yeah. I don't play a lot of mobile games, but I've jumped on the bandwagon for Pokemon Go, and I played Pocket Mortys when that came out. So I love Rick and Morty.
You mentioned Pokemon Go. There's also Ingress that's got notifications as well as for things like when portals are being attacked and stuff like that. So some of these games have semi-useful notifications that try to draw you back into the game. But this goes so far as making it part of the story. And that's what sets us apart from other things. And it seems pretty interesting how they're doing that. So, Mr. Robot's the name of the game. Definitely check that out. And then we're going to come around to our old friend, Star Citizen, the $100 million, what did we call it? Train wreck, yes. $100 million train wreck is actually coming out with version 3.0. And they're going to say it's going to transform the game in a big way. Apparently, this will be building out the story of Star Citizen. Players will be able to engage with one another, finally. They're going to be encouraged to explore the larger world. The star system is going to include far more locations to explore, each one with a dedicated set of characters, stuff like that. It seems like maybe they're finally getting around to actually making something that's playable. I don't know if you guys played it when it was
Actually
free
making the game?
recently. It was not a game. It was a... Pretty much it was a simulator.
Second Life.
Yeah, it was a simulator.
It was
That's
Second
all it
Life.
wasn't even Second Life. I wouldn't even go that
Second Life, you can at least have some reasonable customization, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly.
All I know is that Second Life is something that is more successful than it has any right being.
You're telling me. Is it still around?
Oh yeah.
For
It's
as
still
long as there are fetishes, it will be
Yes.
around.
It's an interesting way of putting it. Initial release date of that game, by the way, June 23rd, 2003. I was 13 years old. Oof. Hey, they're in San Fran. Maybe I should apply to them. Anyway.
Focus.
Yeah, that is Star Citizen. I see why the Descendant Studios guys broke off from this thing, because it's just like they have all this money and they don't know what to do with it. That's what it seems like.
Well, they know. They don't know what to do with it. It's not that they're lacking for something to do. It's just that the project is too big to. There's way more there than just one game.
Yep.
What they're trying to do. So, and they're trying to capture it all as one experience, and it's just not going to cut it. This is. I don't know at this point. I think everybody just watches because it's just going to make a goddamn mess when the tower comes crumbling down. The lawsuits are going to be astronomical.
Indeed. All right.
I don't know
$100
much.
million train wreck.
I heard there was a lot of employee mistreatment surrounding that game or something like that.
Yeah, there's a couple things we covered on previous episodes about that, where apparently there's a lot of bad things going on with their employees, and a couple of them ended up quitting over it and stuff like that.
Right.
And one of our Pantherian, he actually had a friend that worked there, and she bailed out before all that happened. So yeah. And then the last thing that I've got, of course, tomorrow is the finals for the North American League Championship Series for League of Legends. It's going to be between our friends Cloud9 and TSM. And before that, it's going to be two teams that I am very surprised made the finals for the European LCS, and that's Splice and G2. That starts at 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. Should be interesting, to say the least. Anything else that you guys got news related?
Nothing from me.
My adapter is broken.
Oh, that's a bad thing, actually.
I was
That's a
just
very bad
looking at
thing.
my adapter, and there's a button here that's broken on here, and that's a problem.
That's a big
Because
problem.
that is the button that you use to program.
Ugh.
You
Why?
press the button, and it says, "I am ready to program." Now, the other part of that there is that I should have no business with my joystick adapter reprogramming it, because what's on there works just fine.
Yes.
But nonetheless, all it takes.
But anything else you guys got?
Actually relevant to you? No,
Yes.
no, it's
Nothing relevant. Do you have
nothing at all. I've been busy with syllabus week, so.
Oh, jeez. Let's
And
not
that
go,
is
let's
the
not go to
news.
School Simulator 2016. That's not something we need.
Why is there not a good sim school, right? There's such a big market for that. People want to be able. Everybody goes to school. All right.
Yeah.
You go into public school, private school. If you're homeschooled, that's a extremely small minority. The idea is that you have been in an architectural mess before.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at the same type of draw that made SimTower, SimCity, The Sims. Now make a school, right?
Well, they did have Sims 2 University, which I played a little bit of several years ago, but
problem-
it wasn't what it should have been, I believe.
The problem is that School Simulator basically comes down to games like Episode, and no one wants that.
What's Episode?
Basically about the lives of the students.
No, I'm just
you
looking
don't
at
do
a
that.
way to. Yeah, I'm thinking Roller Coaster Tycoon or Theme Hospital even.
Maybe,
Just you might have a weak agent simulator there, just to keep track of whether or not your educational institution is functioning appropriately.
Yeah.
Maybe you can at least do a kind of like a SimCity 2 style thing where you don't have agents, you just have a spreadsheet that's hidden by graphics that indicate that this place is busy.
So
I don't
would
know.
you be like the chancellor of the university?
Yeah, I mean there are proper simulation programs out there for a university simulation, but the idea about a business simulation game is that you have to expose the right amount of simulation without overwhelming the player, so that it's still something that you can pick up and have fun with, like Railroad Tycoon. Did an excellent job of that. Has an excellent economic model in Railroad Tycoon 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's still easy to play, even if your primary interest is just, I like trains.
or train wrecks in the case of Star Citizen.
But either way.
But
It's
that
more
would
of
be
a freight
interesting.
truck, but
I would definitely buy that game, but I would also like something from the student perspective in a
No, you
sim,
wouldn't.
just like with Sims 2 University. I kind of do, because I told you last week that I've been playing Sims 4 again, but still not a good game, and I'm not buying any of the expansions for that. But on the other hand, Sims 3 was great in comparison, and I think they should have just made another Sims University when they were making Sims 3. Don't do it now, because it's going to be terrible like the current game.
Yep. All right.
well, I don't think I'll be buying anything out of that studio for some time. I'm still pissed off over SimCity.
Yeah.
We've talked about SimCity a number of times here too. They gone fucked up. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the second half of the show. Shosan keeps missing his favorite part of the show, and I don't know what he's gonna do. He must be sitting in bed right now, he's just like, oh,
gonna
man,
hug
my
and
back
cry to his
hurts.
body
I wish
pillow.
I was on the podcast. Oh God, am I missing my favorite part of the show? But yeah, the favorite part of the show is you do it better than me, Morph.
I'm sorry?
You do this better than me.
Oh, hold on. Here.
Crack your knuckles, that'll help.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
Hey, podcast, is it? What you playing? There, now that I've woken up the entire apartment.
That is so good. That is so good. Thank you. So what, Mr. Russell's, what are you playing?
I am playing Why Do I Have to Leave an hour and 30 minutes early to get to class when I only live 15 minutes away?
That's a good question. Why do you?
No, I wanted to. I'm also playing I Share the Internet with 5 People. That is not a fun game. I have been an absolute dumpster fire in Descent in the past 2 weeks. I have changed my name to Dumpster Fire on the competitive ladder.
This is the week after you lost by 22 in a game to 20.
Yes, I have continued my sinful ways, and really, that's all the time that I've had for playing games is to play Descent, and playing enough of it to really boil my blood. But I finally got the better of my primary pain in the neck with a score of 20-7 today, and
That's good.
looking forward to Labor Day weekend when I get to go and visit my biggest Descent rival.
Oh, wait, you're not talking about Melvin. You are talking about Lady Silver.
I was talking about Lady Silver there. She's the biggest pain in the neck in the last year. You look at how many
Yes.
overtime games I played against her.
I love her comment, clean up and I'll hate.
Yep. But that's a little bit different than
Yes.
21 to 19 overtime with, what was it,
12.
12 suicides.
Yeah.
Just a little bit different. And other games that I've been poking around at, I tried to get Factorio up and running, but it seems as though as if when they went to Steam, they stopped buying a nice web server for all their files. And because I generally ran the experimental version, they had two releases. They had current alpha stable and then alpha experimental. Alpha experimental had the multiplayer variant in it. And I actually ran a headless server so that me and my buddy could play. The trouble if you go to the Steam version is you don't get the experimental, you get the stable. So I'm trying to download through, again, a cocktail straw because they have downgraded their servers because all of their content's on Steam. So I haven't.
Oh.
So I just, you know what, screw it. I activated my Steam copy. My buddy that I play with, I haven't seen him for weeks, and we rarely have time to play a co-op game. So I just switched over. Factorio, again, you build you land on a planet. You're like a cybernetic organism that doesn't need to sleep, and you can do everything by yourself. You have the ability to craft practically anything you need. It's just a massive crafting game, but you're going to get along a lot faster to build up your technology to be able to build a rocket and get off this damn rock if you use automation and you continue to do research. And that's the real fun of it. It's an excellent blend of like programming and crafting to get to your end goal. And of course, all the while you have biters coming after you. The native life form does not care for the exhaust that your fossil fuel powered steam turbines put out. So they get pretty angry with you, and they come and they wreck your shit. So now you got to build weapons. So if we're talking about No Man's Sky here, they're promoting the exploitation of just a expansionist consumerist culture. Oh, fuck off! Factorio has that even better. Even it has it down even further than you can imagine. There are times when I've just decided to salt the earth with these fucking biters, and I just load up with as many fucking grenades as I can. I blow the entire ecology to smithereens, so I don't have to deal with it anymore. Mm-hmm. So we've been having fun, and looking forward to get back into Factorio because it really kind of goes in with the whole engineering design. You do run into, you didn't think this out. Oh, you have a whole new branch here. Now you have to build an oil refinery. How are you going to get everything in and out of there? You need barrels to transport this stuff, or you're just going to run pipelines? Wait a minute, do we have pump technology here? We need to be able to push this crap all the way through. It's really a fantastic exercise in engineering design, and I would encourage any engineering student to get into it. That's what I'm playing.
Very nice. Mr. Bo Bubbles.
Bo Bubbles.
Bo
Bubbles, more problems, right?
I started with the name just Bo and Aerobee, and then one of my friends just called me Bobles, and then I was like, you know what? I like that.
Sounds good.
So that's what I went with. And now I'm Bo Bubbles, so let's go with that.
Bo Bubbles.
Bo.
I've been playing the same games as I have been last week, minus Sims 4. But against my best interests, I've been playing Overwatch. I'm just waiting for the competitive mode to come back for Season 2. Because I can't stand when people don't.
Heroes never die. Okay? Heroes never die. Just putting that out there.
They die when Mercy dies.
Yes.
But I've been playing that. I've been playing some Fallout 4, which, if I can share my screen with you, I'd love you to introduce you to the new character I created.
What's the background of the character while you're getting that up?
Well, I want to show it to
the two of us,
to the both of you, and have you guess as to who I've created. Now this is
Well, I think I have some insight, so I can't
Yeah,
guess.
you have-
Riley's
you have
gonna to
insight,
guess
so-
this one.
Ron's gonna have to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just go ahead and share this right here.
What
Now this is a famous person. Probably no one knows as of recently, but Ross, do you recognize it? Does it look good?
He's not commenting,
Oh Jesus!
which means, of course, it's shit.
No, it's pretty fantastic. I think,
is it?
given
Okay.
the limitations of what he has to work with.
Yeah,
What is it?
it is Carol Channing.
Jesus.
Carol
What?
Channing in The Wasteland.
Why would you do this?
You know, that's a
I
good
just
question.
want to set the world on fire.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun in character creators. That's why I play Sims games. So, this is actually the second character I've created. Here is my first one that I've created.
And that is?
This is Ringo Starr,
Jeez.
Hey.
Nice.
and there he is further into the game.
Oh my god. That's actually fairly good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here's a comparison for real life.
For realsies. Oh,
I
God.
recall Bo asking me and say, "Hey, what should I? Who should I make? What celebrity should I put into Fallout 4?" And I'm like,
Why
I
would
don't
you
really,
ask Morph about this?
I don't really care. And I'm like, well,
I come to Morph with all sorts of questions for advice.
universe
So-
life and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't care. Christina Hendricks, have fun with it. I don't know. But then I just had this itch at the back of my brain. I'm like, you know what? No, Carol Channing.
Wow.
And he did it.
and he ran with it.
I
He
sure did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was my past couple of days.
Very
That
nice.
is what
Anything
I've
else?
been doing. The last thing I've been playing is a ROM hack, actually,
Mhm.
of Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Oh, very nice. That just came out recently, I believe.
Yes. And it's the, you know about it, don't you?
Yes.
So it's the
Randomized.
randomly generated chests, so you could pretty much get anything. And let me just share with you what I got before I even got to the first dungeon.
Boy.
So first of all, right before leaving the house that you wake up in, Link's house, I got a full piece of heart. So that's a good start.
Always.
And then while rescuing Princess Zelda, I got the magic cape and the Zora fins. So
Very nice.
it's pretty random in itself. But I also have, before I got to the first one, I got the Hero's Bow. I got the red boomerang. Got bombs. I got the Quake medallion, the hammer, 2 bottles, the Pegasus boots, and the Moon Pearl.
Jeez.
So
Okay.
But now I'm in a little bit of a quandary because I finished the first dungeon since I received the bow, but I cannot get into the second or third dungeons.
Oh, jeez.
Bo got the ball.
The desert dungeon and Death Mountain, because I do not have the Power Glove nor the book that translates Hylian. So
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
the Power Glove.
I'm a little bit stuck.
Nice. Yeah. Have you played any of the other randomizers, by the way?
No, I haven't. This is the first one I've played.
All right. Yeah, the first 2 games also have a randomizer. And I've actually played the original games randomizer pretty extensively. And I remember one level that was just full of Wizrobes, which is like the worst enemy in the game. And I struggled so hard to get by them, and I get to the room right before where the compass said the Triforce is, and I don't remember what I was blocked by, but I needed to get an item to get in there. And I didn't find out until like the second to last room of the dungeon.
Oh.
And I was so it crushed my soul. And I was like, okay, it's time to Alt F4, and I just quit out. And I don't think I've come back to it since. I was so frustrated by it. But yeah, I actually know a few people that run that, like in races and stuff, and they can finish the game in about an hour, which is pretty good for not knowing where anything is. But yeah, very nice. Anything else?
Nope, that is it.
All right. Well, I've been doing a number of things in the last week or so. No Man's Sky, kind of winding down on that. I did finally make it to the center of the first galaxy. It's as boring as everyone says it is. So.
Did you find the titular Nomansky?
No.
Oh.
No. I did name a system after 6 Gaming, though. I put it in our website
nice.
And everything, so yeah, maybe some people will find it. It's like it's one of the stars right outside the center.
Didn't you name a few planets in my honor?
I did. When I first started the game, I started naming all the systems after people. The first one, obviously, myself. Second one, my wife. And then I started going Shosan, and Pantherian got one, Veg got one, and even Mr. Morphod got one. And I actually named his, instead of Morphod system, like the Morphod system, I named it Morphod System of Hate. And that was before I visited the planets.
Oh.
Yes.
So, if I recall correctly, you had a pleasant surprise when you visited those planets.
Yeah, it's like one of them was like 100 and some odd degrees Celsius. One of them was minus 100 degrees Celsius. One of them was dead and had absolutely no life on it, and the last one was more toxic than Chernobyl. So yeah, it was definitely a very hateful.
We will
system.
boil you. We will freeze you.
Leave you for dead.
We will leave you for dead, and then we will drop your bones into a pile of acid to dissolve.
Exactly. So
It's very fitting.
yes.
System of hate, indeed.
System of hate. So what I'm working on now is I just landed on my first planet of the second galaxy, and what I didn't do the first time around was max out my ship. So that's kind of what I've been in the middle of doing, trying to get as many slots as I can for inventory space. Even though they said that they're going to be increasing it at some point, I don't need it then. I need it now. So
My God, Ronkley, how many slots do you need?
I need all the slots.
So, most people do fine with just one slot. I mean, I know a few guys that can handle like 2 or 3 at a time, but frankly, one slot's good enough for me in a given moment.
I need them to put all my stuff in, right?
How many stuff do you have?
How many?
Moving on.
How many stuff?
Moving on. We're moving on. We're moving on from this because I've also been playing a little bit of Descent. I am so sad that one match was off the record, Morphod.
You can only have 8 slots in Descent. Why? That's not a good game at all.
You don't want to talk about the Take Hate game, do you?
Oh no, because I'm going to kick your ass after this. In fact, I'd be pretty amused if you broadcast the way that I'm going to beat your ass after this game.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You're
No,
going to be hateful, I can tell you that much.
Ronkley did have. Oh wait a minute. Do we have to play X8?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the trickier
so
levels in modern Descent canon is a level called Take Two, which is very orthogonal and very tight, and it's also very bright in a lot of sections, which allows you for a lot of deception. The light from your ship is not as readily noticed.
Mm-hmm.
There are no homing missiles; there are only smart missiles.
And there smart missiles?
And it's one of the levels that I specialize in. But one of the ways that you can really destroy the magic that I do in there is to fire a lot of smart missiles around. So Ronkley has challenged me to a game in Take Two, as long as there are 4 times the missiles as there should be. And I have dubbed this Take Hate.
Because 2 times 4 is 8.
And I believe we
right.
had a 20 to 18 score, or was it 20 to 16?
20 to 18. It was that close.
So, but the connection was garbage,
It was very much
we threw it out early in the
Early,
single
yeah.
digits.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll have a clear enough connection to play after this show.
Hopefully that'd be really nice. Also been playing Crypto the Necrodancer with the World Cup going on. I am doing trash in the World Cup. We're not going to even talk about that. But I did get a best on the double time character Bolt. Did that in just over 5 minutes. It's good for like top 60 or something like that, which is pretty good in the game. And then finally, just before we came live on the Six Gaming Podcast, I was playing a session of Sublevel Zero. And for those that have heard me talk about this before, you know I've got the world record in it. I've had it for about 7 months for the speed run of this game, and I've raised the bar again. I pushed it down by another half a minute. It is now 27 minutes and 31 seconds for a complete run of all 6 sublevels in Sublevel Zero. And I love it. It's such a fun game. We're going to get this into GDQ someday.
Congratulations there,
Yes.
Rockley, for another world record there.
Yes. And it's kind of funny because when I first posted a world record, it was 50-some minutes. And it's come way down. And the next closest guy, I think he goes by the name of Gigawood, is the other major speedrunner of this game. But we're talking... I've got 27:31. He's got 51 minutes, 20 seconds. He's still over the 50-minute mark. And that was 5 months ago. That was a while ago that he posted that too. So, yeah, very, very excited. Hopefully, I'm going to be doing my submission this week for GDQ. So we'll see. Maybe we can get in there.
Best of luck there.
Maybe. All right. So that concludes Shosan's favorite part of the show, which means we're going to be moving on to Shosan's favorite part of the show.
So many favorites.
I know. I don't get it.
There's only one favorite.
Yeah, it's
Pretty obvious. This is the favorite part of the show.
I think Morphod understands Shosan a lot better than I do, which, yeah, that must
It's
say
the
something
alcohol.
about him. It's the alcohol. Oh, I get it. That's it. Okay. Check. So, this is
Dude, man.
the third half of the show, because we divide the show into halves no matter how many sections there are.
Right.
And this one is the Six Gaming Roundtable, where we ask you a question about gaming, and hopefully we get semi-intelligent responses. But do we have a question this week? Did we ever come up with one?
No, I do not have any questions. I'm much more fun when you ask me a question.
What is your
Well, we
favorite game,
could-
and why is it Action Castle?
We could play some Action Castle. You want to play some? You want to play some
Oh God!
spooky Manor?
Oh God!
We could play some Spooky Manor.
Eat Manor.
You cannot eat that.
Oh boy. I suppose we could do something. I'd rather have more people for that, but.
No. We're not doing
Why
Action
would-
Castle here. Goodness.
I love Action Castle, though.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's funny. Or Parsley is, I think, is its technical name.
Yeah, Parsley is the engine.
Yes.
Goodness. Is a round table question.
Round. Why is it round?
Everybody is supposed to have an equal bit of input.
Yes.
What do we do? We have like an emergency plan when we don't come up with a round table question.
We usually just like, I don't know, talk about something else. It's only ever happened 2 other occasions where we haven't had a round table,
That's
which is saying a lot. And that's just like
unfortunately. I would ask our last week's contributor, Marcus, has been tied up in a video game this evening and has not gotten back to me about any controversial questions, but it'd be a little awkward for me to zip in there and figure something out. So, do any of our viewers in chat have something?
I actually do think I can come up with something here, because one of the things that I did not discuss on the news was a gentleman here by the name of Bacon Totem.
Bacon Totem.
Bacon Totem. He plays Overwatch. He plays competitive Overwatch. And he has decided to make it his mission to become the lowest possible rank in Overwatch.
Oh, yeah, that guy. I read
Yes.
about this.
Um, so, for those that don't know, Overwatch, Season 1 anyway, had a ranking system where you were ranked between 1 and 100. A lot of people would end up middle of the pack, somewhere between 40 and 60. And, like, the really skilled players would end up in the 70s. The top players were like 80s. I don't even know if anyone hit 90. But this guy, Bacon Totem, decided he was going to go the other way and try to get as low as possible.
What happens when I have the whole internet hate me?
Yes. Now, in his defense, he is really bad at FPS. He admits he's bad at them, and he decided to see if he could get all the way to the bottom. And like a lot of the things that he did were things like always picking the same character no matter what the team comp was.
Yes.
Which is like really bad.
Hanzo.
It's like what do you call it? It wasn't Hanzo. That's the character he played, but he didn't call
Right.
it Hanzo.
So
What was
the thing was he
Hanjo.
would
Yes.
he would
Hanjo.
just pretend to be so bad that he couldn't even type out who he was, and he would just type out I Hanjo.
I Hanjo. No matter what someone said,
Yes.
it was always I
Even
Hanjo.
Even when someone asked him politely to switch and then yelled at him to switch.
I Hanjo.
I Hanjo.
Yes. But the question that I have about this is it right to be doing something like this, and should Blizzard have taken action?
The fact that he purposely...
That he's purposely sabotaging his team
Yeah.
to lose. Keep in mind that Overwatch is a competitive, is a 6v6 endeavor. There are 5 other people on your team that presumably want to win, but this guy's so bad that, or is playing badly, that the team is very unlikely to do so.
That is a good question.
We have crickets here. I have stumped the round table, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you haven't stopped. I'm just formulating the response.
No, it's obviously not something Blizzard should reward. But
Uh-huh.
I think it should be something that should be punished, because I guess he's the only one who thought to do that, because there's no reward in being the lowest player in a competitive rank.
So
So-
how do you he's made the number his own reward. The goal is the reward.
Yeah.
No one, what's the reward? No one else has done this before.
Actually, someone did beat him to it.
Oh, wow.
There is a guy called Worst Reaper NA. But apparently this guy was even more hostile than Bacon Totem was.
So
More
when
hostile.
one guy is bumbling, the other guy is explicitly trolling.
Yes.
Well, my take on this whole thing is this is art.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way of putting it.
It's an excellent commentary on the ranking system.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, what kind of matches is this guy by the algorithm? What level of players is he being paired with, being such a low number? And also how their algorithm rates somebody. Why is it that somebody would have to make such significant effort to actually be that low of a rank? Because at that point, you have to try to be bad. We can understand trying to be good, but we really can't comprehend trying to be bad. However, the system, I assume, is going to be like a bell curve, where you're going to find a lot of people between 40 and 60, where the bell curve is up here, and you're going to have the outliers truly need to be extraordinarily good or extraordinarily bad. And if you can't be extraordinary, can you manufacture extraordinary?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what this guy is demonstrating here. Regardless of whether that's his artistic mission or not, I say that no, this is part of the culture. It's not something that should be encouraged. There are going to be copycats. That's
Yeah.
going to be a problem, and it will need to be addressed. But what's more important is that everybody observes and knows the name, um, because this is going to be a significant part of Overwatch competitive history. So
Yeah, indeed.
I call it art. I don't think he should be punished. I think Copycat should be punished for not being original.
Well, now I
Any-
agree with that.
Any questions from Bohanjo over here,
Any questions?
or any comments rather? Anything to add?
No, I kind of feel like it should be punished, just to try and discourage anyone else from attempting to do that again on purpose. So I mean, there's, yeah, I like to think of it as art as well, but it's not something to allow someone to get away with.
It's like graffitis. There's some very nice graffiti out there. But don't do graffiti.
Yeah, pretty much. And one of the things that he, I don't know, documented along the way was the patterns that he saw at certain rank levels, like in the 40s, people are willing to work as a team. When you get into the 30s, people only have like a vague hope of winning, stuff like that. The 20s are where the angriest people in the world are, he said. People that think that they should be much better but aren't, stuff like that. And I think it's interesting that somebody actually tried to do this. But my biggest complaint about this is that he's gaming the system, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, he's manufacturing extraordinary.
Yes. Is it negatively impact the people that he's playing with? For one game. And it's just like
At
any
least.
other rating system out there. It will correct itself over time.
So, down
One game-
to Goblin Town.
One game is not going to affect a player's overall skill ranking like this. It just can't. It's not the way these systems work. Now, having played League of Legends for as long as I had, which has a similar type of ranking system, but less of a problem with people intentionally throwing games, it's kind of a very similar thing where people think that they're better than they are. They're better than their rating says they are. They think they can be higher. And you get to the other end, the people that, up in the top 500 and stuff, I've watched some of their streams and they're thinking, I'm not this good. I should not be ranked this high. It's kind of like the opposite problem. It's like people kind of gravitate towards the middle, no matter if they think they're good or they're bad. It's interesting how that works. But as far as whether or not he should be punished for this, I mean, for Blizzard, they're all about the game experience. They want people to get into the game and have a good time, even if they're being competitive about it. And if this guy is causing people to have a bad experience with the game consistently, that's when they should do something about it. Like the way that this Reaper, the worst Reaper NA sounds, yeah, maybe he should be getting the ban banner.
I mean, have fun with the game, but don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, and this guy, I mean, the way that he plays, I mean, he's not like going over to the edge and jumping off the edge 50 million times. He's actually shooting arrows at people. But he's just not playing the game the way it's meant to be played, and thus he loses every time. He doesn't go for the objectives.
Right.
Which that's why you keep losing the games. So, I don't really think that this guy should be punished if the games that he's playing are still enjoyable for all involved.
If you were in a third-party sanctioned competitive environment, the control there, if somebody is explicitly throwing the game in a very obvious way in-game, then you have the league administrators come in and say, hey, your team has got a black mark, whatever, so on.
It actually happened in Smite not too long ago.
If you have somebody who's doing poorly or throwing in a subtle way, or their incompetence is really dragging down the team, then the team will say, listen, you're on the bench until you practice, or you're off the team.
Mhm.
But this is competitive matchmaking with other randoms, in which case there is no enforcement body of who's on the team or who's in charge of the league. Instead, it's who's in charge of the matchmaking system, and that's Blizzard. In which case, they gotta enforce something
Mhm.
in order to keep their competitive environment pure. Of course, the real challenge here is, as is with all art that is commentary, is if you do this, what sort of precedent do you set?
Mhm.
What is this? How do you evaluate if someone is bad or throwing?
Mhm.
So, again, in a perfect world, he would get slammed down to a ridiculously low level. And what I would be amused at is if he's incapable of finding matches because he's ranked too low.
Mhm. Which may be a problem next season because it's one of the things that they're going to be doing is tightening up the matchmaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all a good point. I mean, does this set a precedent? I would say not. I'd say there's the vast majority of people are going to be trying to win. There might be some copycats, but like I said, Blizzard's not going to just slam this guy into oblivion because he's playing poorly. Even if
We
it's
closed the
intentional.
portals in Elder Scrolls 4 anyway, so.
Yeah. So that, yeah. Okay. But yeah, that's my take on it. You guys got anything else to add?
No?
No, not really.
If that's the case,
It's just sorry to interrupt you,
No
but the ranking system or the way that you get experience in the competitive ranking system needs to be corrected so that if this happens, the whole team doesn't suffer.
I can see that. I mean, it's still you're talking about the experience towards the
Towards the competitive rankings.
right.
So,
That's already a thing.
is it?
Yes, because me and my wife, we did our 10 placement matches, and she's not the greatest at FPSs, and when we got placed, I was placed a full 4 rankings higher than her.
Ah, okay.
But we had played the same 10 matches, so it's the thing. It's
Okay.
they do. It may not be
So it's
perfect.
just in the background
Yeah.
and it's not clearly identified.
not clear at all.
Yeah,
right?
the simplest thing that I can think of would be measure a player's contribution to
Mhm.
the win, and you take the strength of the win overall, and then you have a multiplier based on the level of contribution, and that's how you get your differentiation. And that, with enough sampling, will even itself out.
Exactly. All right. So I think that's going to do it for this week for the Six Gaming Podcast. Thank you guys for joining. Maybe we'll have Shosan back someday. Maybe.
On someday.
Someday. Yes.
Someday.
Someday. Yes. So, yeah, let's go with the closing statements here. Mr. Morfond, anything you want to add?
I like to take the goldfish bowl and spin it really fast.
Bo Jackson, what do you got?
War. War never changes.
Wow.
War never changes.
Oh. Be sure to visit our website at 6.gg. We'll be here every week, 8 p.m. Pacific, or as Shosan likes to say, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, even when it's daylight time like it is right now. Don't listen to him. It actually is 10 daylight time, Central Time. So, yeah, for the Six Gaming Podcast, until next week, see you, bye.
Bye-bye.